I need your clothes, your boots, and your motorcycle.
Hello everybody, it's Kevin from the Rule of Heathen. You're getting a video this week, and obviously from the title, it's going to be my take on heathens and motorcycles, because it's a subject I wanted to address for a while, and the gentleman in our last video decided that it was time for me to address it, I guess. I've been a heathen for over 10 years, and I've ridden motorcycles since my early 20s. It is a very cheap and economic way of getting around, but there are some people you will never convince of that. And it becomes a lifestyle too, and believe it or not, it does fit into our world. Our ancestors used to ride horses, and that's kind of the modern horse for us, because you don't need 200 bag of grain to feed them. Just $10 worth of gas usually, oil, and a few other things. A lot of it stems from what I call the Orthodox bunch, because even though some of them do ride, they're all suit and tie, and they just look at the biker culture as this sort of degenerate culture. So of course when you see somebody else doing some nonsense like that from the 60s, 70s up to the current era, which I'm sure things have changed greatly, and they have, they just kind of group you in like that. They also fear our group getting too big and overpowering them, I guess. It got to the point where me and another guy were told that we cannot wear our cuts to what we call bloat anymore. Or he was told specifically. I caught a little wrath end of it one day. I was told I could not wear certain patches on my vest if I was out riding. It was almost coming to the point where I would have to sell my motorcycle, because they didn't like when I showed up to events on one. But we're past that now. We're no longer part of that group, so we do our own thing. And there's a lot of us that do ride. There's a lot of us that embrace that 9 noble virtues. There's a lot of us that are in the biker culture. Obviously, if you're in a state and you want to have a club, you have to go through the main guy, which obviously is a thing, because if not, there's consequences for it, and unfortunately some of these guys find out. I know a few, and I'm not picking you guys out of the crowd, so if you're watching this video, don't be messaging me right now. So, that given, they get associated with that too. And even though that most of these guys in this Orthodox bunch come from the prison system, I completely understand that. But at the same time, you know, you don't know what those guys are doing, because they are very private. As for the individual that lived a comment in the last video, I'm not sure what his story is. I'm not really going to ask. But, you know, it doesn't matter if we're conservative or liberal. There's more political spectrums out there. And the nationalists, they pretty much hate most motorcycles except for a certain amount. They just, like I said, they see it as kind of a rival threatening, or they see it as a roving manor bun, which is like a, back in the ancient times, those were elite fighting forces, and our people today is nowhere near that. They're more of a fjord, if anything, pitchforks and shovels. But that's kind of how they see it as well, is that they're a roving band of manor bun that can potentially be troublesome. They see them as having no allegiance or things like that, and that's where the philosophy comes from. So, you know, back in the 60s, 70s, riding on the sidewalk was apparently a very shocking offense. Having a swastika was a very shocking offense. You know, things like that. It's like last year we had targeted, people were actually targeted by their skin color for riding a bike, because the guy's excuse was, well, most people in the Harley culture are Nazis anyway and have thunderbolts and, you know, whatever, and I just did everyone a favor. The the guy was proven seriously mentally defective to begin with. But he honestly killed somebody. I think it was actually part of the Department of Justice, if I remember correctly. And then there were just a string of accidents and killings in my state alone that were just mind-boggling. People weren't really looking out for anyone last year, especially with all this COVID thing going on. They just figured it was their reckless abandonment that they could just get away with. And I'm sure most of these people are imprisoned, but that's too good for them. Another thing is, most bikers have ties into other organizations, like I was saying, or rights groups. I know a few that are heathens that are part of ABAT, and I know that a few that completely despise ABAT. Personally, I'm not part of ABAT. Not anymore, I used to be. But that's just kind of how it goes. I guess hopefully it clears things up. It is a love-hate, power struggle relationship, you could say. And I feel that we're going to become a lot more common. I mean, we already are. There's quite a few of us over here as it is. There's a lot of Austria-based motorcycle clubs in the States right now, internationally. And I also feel that those people in the Orthodox bunch are going to have a very hard tapping into those membership potentials because they just have their own view and their own culture of things. I think that's what scares them the most. Because, as I said, most Orthodox bunches act like churches. We have hofs, temples, and sacred places. That's the nice thing about a bike. You can go up to a very distant sacred place and party for a few days and do what you need to do, and then leave. Like, you were never at the place. Where you haul in campers and trucks, you're going to leave not only marks, but trash. It's always a given. But anyways, I'll catch you guys later. This is your video for the week. It was a little unintentional at first, but I got thinking about it. It was just time to address it. If this discussion wants to continue further, drop some questions in the chat for me, or the comments, and I'll answer them as best I can. Stay rural, everybody. Catch you later.